Hello everyone, hope everyone's doing great today. In this video finds you in high spirits. Today I will be talking about the show Alice in Borderland. Also like to say I appreciate those who will be watching this. Alice in Borderland is a Netflix original. After watching Squid Games last year, a lot of people said that, if you enjoy Squid Games, you would enjoy Alice in Borderland. So it took me about a year to finally watch this show. And yes, it is much like Squid Games, only Alice in Borderland is more of like a supernatural type of show to it. And just like the title entails, or you would see from the title that it does play off of the story Alice in Wonderland. Our main character is like a gamer who plays online. In his profile, his online name is Alice. And him and his friends, they get kind of transported into another dimension, just like how Alice was in that story. And you do get some references to Alice in Wonderland. For example, one of like the main characters, or I guess he's appears to be like the main villain, kind of, but he's not really. You got a character named the Mad Hatter. Or the Hatter, but he's kind of mad. He's kind of crazy with his ideas of what utopia should be like, as he's trying to gather everybody together to collect all these cards. Assuming that if you collect all the cards, you'll be able to escape from this game. But the story really follows a young man and his three friends who get trapped into this paradox world, this ultra dimension, and they're forced to play these games that are very deadly. If you lose, you get killed, just like the Squid Game. I guess I should point out at this time, I've never read the manga, so I don't know how true it is to the manga whatsoever. So I won't be making comparisons between the show and the manga. So let's get back to this. So we got these three friends that are doing these games. And they find out there's other people trapped in this paradox world as well, and they're all either some games you're competing with each other, or against. Well, I guess I should say you're competing against each other, and the winner moves on while the losers, meet their deaths. And other games you'll be like as a team with the other players, and you're all trying to get through the game, and. So that's basically what the plot is. So some of the negatives of this story is that there are some moments where it's kind of like unbelievable. You really have to, there's really some, plot armor. That's the word for it. Especially when you get to the game where they're in this tunnel, and then you get this crashing water coming after them. I mean, if this is real life, there's no way they could be able to outrun this avalanche of water through this tunnel, but they're able to do it. And then the more unbelievable part is at the end, where you have our main character. He's kind of like this dude that's not very muscular, let's say. He's kind of skinny, and the female lead, she jumps for his hand, and he's able to grab her and pull her into the bus before this water crashes into him. Real life, if she was to do that, her weight and momentum would probably drag him out of the bus, because he's just not that strong of a guy. Our main character is mainly a guy who, what he lacks in physical strength and stuff, he makes up in his mental and his smarts. And so he's able to, a lot of times, think through these games and how to pass the games through his wits, not through his physical strength per se. That's one of the negatives I got that really sticks out. I'm sure there's other ones, but that's the one that, like, the main part that picks out. The main one that sticks out in my head is that some of these parts for the main character are plot armor. And there's some times where he should have died, or the main character should have died, but they somehow survive. And that's one of the circumstances, being able to outrun an avalanche of water, a wave of water coming through you in the tunnels. So let's talk about some of the good points of this show. Is that it's definitely the characters are not really safe. You don't really know who's going to die. Some of the characters you think might survive a little longer, meet their untimely deaths. There are some characters you kind of feel like that they're going to die when you meet them. There's some, at least one, where you thought this guy's just there, just in the show, just to die, but he ends up surviving. So it does get that aspect where some of that you're surprised on some of the survivors. So it does a very good job with that to keep you on your toes, and so you do kind of need like somewhat of like a backup favorite character. But for the most part, it seems like your main characters, at least in this one, are mainly because the show is named after him. You kind of get that feeling that he's pretty safe. He does meet a girl on the way, so you do get that little romance in this show, which I kind of like. One thing about Squid Game is always it's all about just survival and stuff. You don't really get much of the romance. I do like a bit of romance in my show, so that was a good point for me. The show does also highlight kind of like how humans or people, let's say people, I don't want to interact with each other, and how some will betray their friends or those around them at a drop of a hat. How some are more loyal and are willing to help each other out, no matter if you're a stranger or you're close to them. They're just good people. And it does get to a point where you have some people who are, in between. They like you, they're going to help you. If they don't know you whatsoever, they're just going to ignore you and leave you to your own device, I guess you could say, your own fate. They're not going to try to help you survive. They're not going to try to kill you either. They're just going to let you be. So it does do a good job of pointing out these characteristics that people may have in a situation of this type of game, or in this type of world, I should say. I guess another downfall, now I'm thinking about it, that's kind of weak is like the ending, the last game. I don't really like... I don't know. I guess it'd be alright. Maybe it's just my personal taste here, but how the main, I don't know. I don't want to call him like the main villain, but like the villain of the last game, kind of how he was willing to sacrifice everybody just because of something that the guilt he felt for killing his friend. So he was just willing to let everybody die. I just didn't get that very much. I guess I couldn't really relate to that kind of characteristic. I'm not saying it's unbelievable. Just didn't really like how that was his motive for his actions there during that last game. I would rather just him being this this crazy lunatic bad guy than he's letting those people die because of his guilt of killing his friend. If you watch the show, if you've already seen it, you know what I mean. That part felt kind of off, and I feel kind of dumb. And that it is Alice in Borderland, and if you know Alice in Wonderland, the real villain of that story is the Queen of Hearts, is a woman. I guess I was just going with the flow of the show. So at the end, you do reveal that who the main villain is, and it is a woman who is sadistic, and she's just like the Queen of Hearts in the show, and it's, she likes enjoying people die, and that's kind of like what you get the feeling of when you finally meet the Queen of Hearts in this one, which will be them going up against her will be in season 2. Season 1 finished with them finding all of the cards of the number cards, and season 2 will be them trying to get the face cards. I'm not gonna say who survives, who doesn't. That's up to you. The remaining survivors, you got one guy who I don't know how much you could really trust him. I wouldn't trust him as far as a throwing myself. He's definitely has tried to sacrifice our main characters a few times just for his own personal gain. And then you have, his sidekick, his second in command is a woman. I think she's a woman. She could be a transgender. I didn't really get that through her story. I think she's a transgender. I'm gonna say she's a transgender. If you've seen this before, maybe you can tell me, because when she was in her youth, she was a boy doing karate, and then now she's a girl with and she has breasts and everything, so she looks like a woman. So she may have had the operations and stuff, or perhaps her dad was so wanting to have a boy, he dressed her up as a boy when she was a kid. I'm not really sure where that one's going with that, but she's a good character. Love the fight scene between her and the guy with the katana sword. Was great. How she kind of reverted back to her old self as a kid and used that training to help her with that fight. So you can really tell that the directors and the writers liked the dude with the sword. They gave him a lot of time. He had like a lot of cool shots and stuff. And his backstory is like he's just a normal guy. For a minute, I thought he was kind of like the father of our female lead, because he looked like he's the guy who likes to do mountain climbing and stuff, and then he gets trapped in his world, and then he slowly gets demented into this crazy lunatic, crazy guy holding a sword and such. But he was probably one of the cooler characters, one of the cooler villains of the show. The Hatter guy, he's just very extravagant, and they really do exaggerate all these characters, which makes them interesting and pretty cool. I think that's all I want to say about this. It's probably about 6 minutes too long, this video, but hey, you're still here. Thank you for hanging around. Thank you for listening to me ramble on. I hope you enjoy it. Hopefully, I'll see you again, or you'll see me again in another video, and have a great day. Bye. Hello again. I know I just said bye, but I forgot to give this a rating thing on this show, on this channel. We usually grade our reviews to 3 grades. Sorry, lost the words right now, but we usually judge these shows by 3 ways. 1, we recommend highly, which we think the majority of the people will like it. Recommend with caution, which means about half and half of people will like the show, what we read or whatever, and then not recommend at all, which we think minority people will not like this. If you're into these kind of survivor games, I would definitely recommend this. This is great. I should say survivor movies or shows. You definitely will enjoy this. Even though it does have some plot armor into it, it kind of takes away from the question of will these people survive or not. You still will enjoy it. It has some cool action scenes, and gets a cool plot, and it does really study like how people react in these situations. So yes, so I do recommend this. If you're somebody who's not really into these type of shows that are about survival and people playing games with each other, portraying people, you probably won't like this at all. But yes, if you're somebody who likes these survivor type of shows, I do recommend this. Now I'm saying goodbye for good, or at least for today. Have a great day. Bye.